Okay, something is definitely wrong here. I mean, we think of corporate jobs as lifeless, boring, and just plain old tough. And we think as freelance as this beautiful job where you wake up and you feel like, work when you feel like, and enjoy your damn life. But maybe the grass is always greener on the other side. And maybe there's something here that no one's really talking about. I mean, look at all these videos on the internet where they're talking about how freelance is easy money. Anyway, like we always do at this de-influencing episode, we'll talk about the good and the bad about freelancing because clearly the internet may be misguiding you. So let's begin. So there's nothing wrong with freelancing. In fact, freelancing is actually a really good option. But the problem is, people talk about a secret way to make cash that's making so much money with so much ease that it's almost like passive income. And that's the problem. So let's start with, why do people not like jobs? So first is you need relevant job experience. I mean, any corporate says कि इतना साल का experience चाहिए, then you will qualify for the interview. But if you're a fresher, the fresher definition means you don't have experience. And if you don't have experience, then how will you get in the corporate? So this is the problem. Then there's the application process and actually networking. So you have to go and create an account, apply to multiple jobs, clear a bunch of interviews. This is obviously a lot of work. For an on-site job, you may have to switch your city to actually, well, work in that company. And if you choose that, of course, lifestyle and everything changes. Maybe if you're a fresher, it's okay because the new experience is fun. Then there is that feeling. You know, that feeling when you're sitting on your desk, staring into the abyss and thinking, I think I'm underpaid. I think I'm underappreciated. Why do I really come to office? And what's the point of all of this? And then you think, what if I could do something more exciting? What if I could freelance? Then happened COVID. It actually changed a lot of our mindset when you start thinking in a different way. And at that time, people were worried about their salaries to come and they lost their trust temporarily कि शायद maybe my company may lay me off. So I have to think of a backup. And therefore I thought of freelancing. So a lot of people actually went on Google and started searching freelancing, and you can see here on Google Trends that after COVID there was a spike and it went flat after that.
Because of this came the most interesting character,
Mr. Influencer. Mr. Influencer makes all these videos and tells people how to make so much money in a short period of time with very little effort. Actually, zero effort. And that's the problem. You cannot make money or anything in life or build anything in life with zero effort. Nothing comes easy. The first misconception is that freelancing equals easy money. So think about this. As counterintuitive as it may sound, when you start your freelancing career, the first step is putting money in. There is always an initial investment you have to do. It could be a new graphics card, a new computer, could be a new vehicle that you have to travel with, but there'll be some cost related to your craft because now you don't have a company to provide you with some basic infrastructure. Second is the opportunity cost. As weird as this may sound, the first few months you may not earn something because you have to build the website, build the brand, go and talk to a bunch of people. Clients usually will take their time because they're not in a hurry, you are. And for a couple of months, if you don't earn, you could have earned while you were in a job. So take your salary multiplied by 6 months or 4 months. And that's the period that you actually lost money and time, not to mention a little bit of your confidence, because it takes time to build something. And finally, there's low earnings. When you start off, things may seem really hunky and dory. You may have your first client, second client right out of the bat, but the earnings are low because this is new. What you really need to focus on is getting those clients, building recurring revenue, and that takes time. So your expectation should be time lagega. Similarly, if you work in a job, you start thinking that your first salary, your first month will be enough. It won't. Your first year and 2 years are just to establish you. So just like freelancing, even in a job, every year your skills compound, the trust inside the company compounds, and hopefully your salary also goes up with time. So I want you to do an exercise. It's a slightly biased exercise, but let's go with the bias. Just for this, find the top 50 companies in India and let's see what's the average pay of the CEO. Here is what the top 10 or top 20 look like. Notice this is the fixed pay. Some of them have added variable also. Now my question is, क्या ये बंदा आपसे ज़्यादा काम कर रहा है? I'm sure he's putting slightly less hours than you have. But why is he earning so much? And remember, these names you see over here are not founders. They have not started the company and therefore unka hak hai to make a lot of cash. These people were hired. Their life was exactly like you. But over a period of time, they hit a point where they made all this money. So this discussion isn't about being an employee versus freelancing. It's about you. Do you really care about the skills that you have? And are you really 2xing or 3xing those skills every year? If yes, then you have nothing to worry about. Whatever you do, you'll be fine. Misconception 2. Freelancing equals freedom of time. Now, the expectation is very simple. You're your own boss. You get to work when you feel like. If you don't feel like working, you don't. And especially if you're a night owl, if you feel like working at night, you work at night. There's no clock in, clock out. It's your freelancing project. But the reality is slightly different. Inconvenient calls. Inconvenient timings. Now, if you work for an international client, you will be working at night and figuring your normal life out during the day. That will mess up your biological clock, not to mention your social life. I'd also like to remind you, there is no one in this world who does not have a boss. Whether you're a freelancer, you have many. Whether you are a business owner, you have investors. Even the investors may have raised money from LPs who also have bosses. So everyone is accountable to someone. There's nothing wrong with having a boss. Like, look at this headline over here. Elon is trying to negotiate a pay package with Tesla directors. Now we may think, Elon Musk to owner hai. Why does he have to negotiate? Because he has a board that decides things for him. He also has a boss. He just doesn't call it a boss. He calls it a board of directors. And then there's juggling between multiple clients. Let me explain how this works. You have multiple clients to work with who will give you multiple deadlines with multiple payment milestones that happen over multiple invoices that are paid over part invoice payments over the next few months. You have to juggle all of that. Now, that's not the problem. The problem is for every piece of work you're doing, you're being incentivized, which means your brain will lie to your heart and your body that you can work a bit more. In fact, the first 1 year will seem like a breeze. You just keep working because you feel like every time you work, you get paid. Very soon, though, you'll realize you've completely neglected your mental health and your physical health. If you're a person who cannot balance this, then freelancing is probably not for you. The third misconception is that freelancing avoids office politics because there is no office. You're your own boss. And this expectation might have some interesting points. Well, the first is that you don't have to talk to your manager politely even though you really hate him, and then talking to colleagues you don't like, and the list goes on. And sometimes the managers just don't see you. You're like an invisible fly to them, and you feel meaningless. Like, what do I do so they notice me? And politics is usually the answer, gossiping and talking. But as a freelancer, this may not be true. You see, the reality is, in both cases, you're dealing with humans. And humans, people, apes are political creatures. They move ahead because there is hierarchy. In a freelancing setting, the same thing happens, but the structure's changed. You now have clients. At certain times, you may not like the client of something he said. The client may not like your work and he can get angry and upset with you and just say bad things to your face. He doesn't have to sugarcoat it. And this is completely fine because it's a client relationship. As humans are political creatures, we're also social creatures. I mean, in an office, there are water cooler moments. There are times when you may have an offsite. There may be some moments where you're spending time with your colleagues. If you're a solo freelancer, then you will face isolation. I mean, look at this story where a person says he feels like he has low energy, doesn't feel like doing anything, and he just doesn't have friends anymore because they're all working. He can only meet them once or twice a month. Interacting and talking to people is a part of being a human. Of course, we still have people who kill it with work from home, and I'm sure some freelancers can kill it too, but if you are a social creature, maybe being in isolation could be a problem. The fourth misconception is that freelancing में getting a client is very easy. No problem, इतने सारे clients हैं, एक तो मिल ही जाएगा. I mean, one client should be easy, right? And after one comes two. And after two, I'll add the third. Then I'll do some marketing and double it to 6. Income will also become 6 times. But the reality is actually really different. Imagine this, right? You're in a market, and this is an open market right now. You're looking at multiple clients. Clients are looking at multiple freelancers. And clients not only have freelancers, they also have old employees, existing employees, people they want to promote, other agencies, companies, small businesses, large businesses, and a freelancer, which means you'll always be competing for every single job. And in this competition, an interesting thing happens. In this post, you can see that because of bandwidth issues, a freelancer couldn't take up a really big client's work. Now that really big client just dropped out and said, "Humko kaam nahi chahiye." But now he lost that client and this is a problem. Where does he get his income from now? And then of course, sometimes a shitty company you're working for just may not pay. So if you look at say Upwork or Fiverr or any of these websites where you're trying to get some jobs and you type say video editor, you'll get so many different jobs over here that the competition is intense. And even if you do get one job, the problem of recurring revenue will always be there. So there'll be no stability. The truth is that you're watching this video and you actually care about money and your future. I'm sure you must have some unique skill, and if you don't, you're developing it right now. And over the next few years, maybe a decade, you'll get towards this and move away from this. You're fine. So tell me what you thought about this video. Write some experiences of your own life in the comments so we can learn from each other. And if you have an interesting story to tell, tag us on our Instagram channel and we will feature it in our stories. And see you in the next video. Bye-bye.
Black coffee. Wow, that's such a Pratik thing to say. Black coffee se mundo. Oh. Shit. Something is definitely not wrong. Something is definitely wrong here. मेरे बनाया हुआ भूल गया.